On the previous video, we saw all about different layer types in Moho. Now we will talk about different binding methods, different bone binding methods. So what are bone binding in character rigging? So let's say this is a character. To move the limbs, you can't really use this file, this layer itself. On top of that, you need something as like skeletons or bones. In this case, we call them bones. So a bone will look like this. So you assign bones to the layers, and now you move the bone and the layer or the hand will get moved. So to connect this bone to the layer, to the hand, to connect the bone to the hand, this is called as binding, and you can do this in many different ways. There are four main methods, such as the flexi binding, binding points, smooth joint pair binding, and then bind layer. So these are all the four main types of bindings. So first let's see about what is flexi binding. Before we draw a character for flexi binding, let's have a look at which of these techniques is good for which type of image. So you can see here, I'll have to move these two. Now this image right here is just an image of a character. Now the Photoshop files that you do, let's say you're drawing a character in Photoshop, or let's say you have some images of characters, or generally Photoshop files or images generally can be called as raster images. So for raster images, good binding techniques are flexi binding. Along with that, you can use smooth joint pair. Also, you can use this binding layer or smooth joint pair or flexi binding generally is good for raster images types. What are raster images means? They are called as just images or files that are created in Photoshop. Next we have vector files. Vector files generally means lossless vectors or lossless shapes. That means if I zoom in here to here, there is no pixel. It's not pixelated, as you can see. It's just a straight line. Okay, but if I zoom into a raster image, as you can see all of these pixels. So that's the difference, right? So generally for vector files, such as this character is a vector character. So for vector character or SVG files, which are scalable vector graphics, or just vectors that you can draw inside Moho itself, or Illustrator files, or let's say you can use any vector files, any vector software to draw vector characters and load it into Moho as a SVG file, or you can use Photoshop or any other softwares like Photoshop. You can use GIMP or let's say the Photopea. It's the same version of Photoshop, but it's web based. It is of just a website. So you can use all of those. Let's say you don't have Photoshop, that means you can use all of those. So for vector files, generally the best method is bind point method. Using the bind point tool to bind the bone and the arms, the limbs, bind point tool is one of the best. Okay, and straight away bind point tool will not be that good, but along with that, if you do something called as smart bones, we will learn later, the combination of smart bones and bind point tool technique is one of the best ways to rig a character in the entire software. It is one of the most complex and one of the best methods for one of to do the best works. Okay, then you can, if you want to, you can of course use smooth joint pair technique in both for vector as well as raster. If you wish to, you can even use bind layer for both. Same, you can use bind layer for raster or even vector. Okay, I know at this point it is still, I know you have not got all of this because we have not seen any of these in action. So now let's see all of this one by one in action. First of all, let's open Photoshop and let's draw a character. I just created a full HD size, as you can see. So on this full HD size, let's create a new layer, and you can start to draw your character. Now keep in mind, let's not draw a perfect character. That will be, now keep in mind, I won't be taking too long to draw a perfect character. That is for another video. On a different video, let's do advanced character rigging starting from drawing till until the full rig. Let's do it. But for now, I'm just going to pick just let's say the blue with the brush tool selected. Let's say we are now drawing the pelvis. I'm just going to increase, also put the hardness to maximum and then very roughly draw like this. That's more than enough. I'll also move this down a bit. Now on a new layer, let's get the brush tool again, and then I'm going to change its color for a different color, and let's draw the chest, something like this. I know it's not at all perfect, but this is totally enough to learn what flexi binding is. Now for the arm, I'm just going to change the color again. Now for the forearm, let's draw like this. I know it's not that perfect, but that's totally fine, and we don't need a hand. Delete the background. Make sure the background is deleted, and now just save this as a Photoshop file. Also, it's better to select all of them and group them like this, a single group. Now save it. Now this exact file and the other files used in this video is available in the description. You just have to click on the link and you can download. And one more very important thing I have to mention, that is this. In the menu in Moho, in the menu section, you will see something like this. Use selected bones for flexi binding. Now this feature is no longer available. This is there, but this exact button has been changed to something called as link bone. Okay. Now it is now called as link bone. On the YouTube, almost like 99% of the videos on the tutorials, they will tell you this about this. Use selected bones for flexi binding. They will tell you to press this, but this won't be available. Don't get confused. Instead of pressing this from the menu, from the bone menu, you just press link bone. I will show this in a while. Okay, now we are at Moho. All you have to do is go to file, import, and then press general import. Now here's that body file. I'll select it and press open. And here you just have to make sure that press individually. This is the most recommended one. Press individually. Now as you can see, we have the complete group. We have the group. Now I don't think this group is needed, so I'm just going to take all of this and just put it inside the main body.pst and select this group, and I'm just going to delete it. Okay. Now let's start adding bones. Now to add bone to this PST file, okay, you can't do it at the moment. We are on frame 0. Even though we are on frame 0, here there is no add bone button. That is because if you want to add bone to this PST group, that group should be a bone group, a bone layer. So to do that, right click on it and press convert to bone. Now you will see that bone icon. Whenever you see this bone icon, now this means the bone tool will show it to you. Now just press this add bone tool and let's start from here. From the pelvis, what I'm going to do is, while this is selected, while we are on frame 0, and when this is selected, just click drag to create your bone. Hold down shift to maintain the 90-degree angle, the straight line. Now let it go here. Now while that is selected itself, start from here and click drag something maybe here until the neck to the top. Now while this is selected, you draw for the arm and for the forearm. Alright. Now don't click drag here. For the arm, don't do it because currently selected bone is this. So if I create a bone right here, the parent of this bone will be this bone, which is wrong. The parent of this bone should be this, okay, the chest bone. Okay, so in a situation like this, you have to hold down Alt and left click on this bone to select it. Now that is, while that is selected, now click drag, and now the parent of this bone is the chest bone, and it is correct. Now while this bone is selected, you just click drag another one down like this. Alright, now the very first bone method that, I mean the bind method that we are going to learn is flexi binding, and the flexi binding has been already done. That means in Moho, the default method is the flexi binding. By default itself, it is already done for you, so you don't have to do it again. So it is done. So all you have to do is now just select this, and you can move the bones. Keep this in mind. You can only move or rotate the bones only when you are in frames. You can do it now, of course, but it will not be connected to the artwork. It will not be connected to the limbs. So now if you get this one, okay, the transform bone tool, the shortcut key is T. If you take it now while you're in frame 0, if you select now, the arm won't move or any of these won't move. Just keep this in mind. When you are in frame 0, of course you can shorten the bone. You can of course move it to a different place. That's why we have in frame 0 we can do that. But while you are in, let's say, frame 12, now when you adjust this, the artwork is going to get moved along with it. Now as you can see, everything else is moving with this, right? It's like getting distorted or getting stretched. Why is that? This is because this is flexing. That's why it's called as flexi binding. It's getting flexed. So hope you got it. So right now everything is getting flexed and it's called flexi binding. Now you can do some adjustment for this by reducing the bone strength. For every bone there is something called as bone strength. Okay, to reduce this or to adjust this, you have to be in frame 0. So right now I'm in frame 0. Now take the bone select tool and select the bone that you want to adjust the bone strength. In this case, I'm going to select everything, and here's the bone strength button, the tool. Now as you can see, a cloud, the oval, I mean the pill shape around the bone, this means that's the strength. You can click drag to reduce the strength, or you can increase the strength. The more you increase, the more you move, the more the image is going to get distorted. If you want less distortion, please reduce this. But keep this in mind, flexi binding never works if the bone strength is set to 0. Now as you can see, I have selected this layer. I'm going to frame 12. I'm taking this tool. Also I'll select the bone first, then this tool. Okay, the transform bone tool. Now when I click drag, nothing happens because there is no strength. Keep in mind, flexi binding works with strength enabled. Okay, so make sure to go to frame 0 and select all the bones and get that strength tool and increase it a bit. Now I have reduced so much. Now you might think there won't be any distortion, but there will be distortion. So if you select this, if you go to frame 12 and if you take this, I'll first select this tool and select a bone, then I'll select the other one and then click drag. As you can see, still the distortion is there. This doesn't help. See, it's not helping at all, the bone strength in this case. So on a situation like this, we will have to do something else. That is called this. It is called as use selected bones for flexi binding. That means we are selecting a bone. Okay, we are selecting a bone and we are saying use flexi binding only for that selected bone. Now in the new version of the software, Moho, this feature is not available in the same place. It is available through something called as link bone button. So what we will do is, when we are here, we will go to frame 0, of course. Now select a bone and select this artwork. To select the artwork, you can move your mouse here, and if you know the name, select them, or just hold down Alt and right click on top of the artwork. Now that artwork is selected. Okay, now when these two are selected, press this button, link bone. Now we are specifically saying to use the flexi binding to this. Okay, so we are specifically saying this bone should adjust most of this artwork. So if I press link bone, if I rotate this bone, it won't do much of distortion because we have properly linked it. Okay, so I will select this bone, alt right click, and now press link bone. Select this bone, alt right click and press link bone. Select this one, alt right click on this pelvis and press link bone. Do the same thing here, alt right click and press link bone. Select this, alt right click on this and press link bone. Now I have connected them all properly. Now while we are in frame 12, now I'll get this, the bone transform tool, and now when I move, as you can see, they are moving properly. The artwork is perfectly moving, right? So yeah, as you can see now, the flexi binding is working properly. So just to recap, so when do you need to use flexi binding? Mostly for raster files, it is going to work properly. For illustrations too, flexi binding you can use, of course you can use, but since we have the bind point technique, which is the most powerful, I highly recommend use that itself. No need to use flexi binding on a raster layer. Okay, now let's talk about smooth join pair technique, and then we'll go to bind point tool technique. Now smooth point technique. For this I have given you a file in the description. Open that file. It's just a drawing in simple drawing in Photoshop. So I'm just going to load it by going to file, import, general import, and this is the file available in the description. So I'll press open and press individually. Alright, it is loaded now. As you can see, one more time, this group is not needed, so I'm taking out of that group and deleting that group. And now I'm also deleting this vector layer, so it'll be super easy to see what's happening. So just the Photoshop group and these two just images. These two are just two yellow brush layers I just drew in Photoshop. Okay, now let's convert this to a bone layer, convert to bone, and now add the bones like this. Let's start from here and then click drag here. Let's say this is the elbow, right? It should be up here, but it's okay. For the learning purpose, let's put it somewhere in the middle. It's not accurate, but it's fine. Now for the hand too, I'm just going to do like this. For the hand, maybe I will hide this for a while. I'll hide this layer for a while. I'll click drag maybe here, and then from here I'll click drag another one here, because I'm thinking about that rotation. I will teach all about this later on in the advanced videos, but for now this is enough. Okay, now we have the bones, and now if you don't do anything, flexi binding is the default method. So if I take this one and if I rotate, as you can see, this is how it is working. See here, it is not perfect at all. So here also it is not perfect at all. So here also it is not perfect at all. So on a situation like this, it's better to use something called a smooth joint pair technique. So that means if you if you select this and if you try to link bones to this, it is not going to work it's going to work the same way. So if I press link bones, now if I go here and if I do the rotation, it's not going to do much. See, the same thing. Yeah, no changes at all. Okay, don't try to do that. So what I recommend you to do is go to frame 0, select these two. So on an artwork like this, the best technique is you also select, of course, the arm, and the bones should be selected. Both of these bones should be selected. The arm should be selected. Now go to bone at the top, and here you will see something called as create smooth joint for bone pair. Now this technique works for pair only, pair of bones. So here 1, 2. So that's a pair. So it is going to work only for pair. If you select one bone, it is not going to work. So select two bones and the layer, correct layer. Now go to bone and press create smooth joint for bone pair. Now it is going to create a circle like this. Now it is going to use this circle to correctly do the rotation and everything. That's why we have a circle like this. Now let's go to, let's say, frame 12, and while this main layer is selected, now get this selection tool and let's say you select this or that. Now get the transform tool, and now when you click drag, as you can see, it's doing a nice rotation here. See, not like before, it's much better. It's like million times better, right? It's way too better than what we saw before. But for the hand, yeah, now the hand is getting rotated on its own. That's really cool. That is because it is not connected to this. It is just linked to the hand only. If it's not linked, if it's not working like my one, you just go here to the hand, right? And while you are here and while this bone is selected, while the hand is selected, now press link bone if it's not working like how I did. But there is a small issue here. I should have double pressed here and reduce the opacity of this, and also double press on the other one and reduce the opacity of that as well. So I think I have to move these bones here and there a bit. This is not, I don't worry about whatever I'm going to do right now. Okay, so I'll take this tool and then move it a little bit here, and this one move it a little bit there. So of course while I rotate this, it should get rotated properly. That's the whole reason. Now when we are in frame 12, if I do it, now all of these problems will happen. See, about that, while there are drawing techniques for rigging too, proper drawing techniques, because now here we get something like this, which is not that nicer looking for a hand. So all of these we will learn later on, but for now As you can see, this is how the smooth join technique works. We are not done with this technique because we have to do and see the same thing for, this is raster, we have to do and see the same thing for a vector file. So let's go here and create a vector while we are on frame 0, and let's create a vector layer and delete this, we don't need it anymore. So select this, and now I want you to click drag and create a box. Let's create a box, but before that I'll make sure autofill is enabled, also auto stroke. I'll also make sure that my style panel is open, and I would like to give this blue, light blue, and it's okay, let this be black color outline. I want the outline to be, let's say, 15. Yeah, that's cool. Now I have something like this. All right, now I can't convert this to a bone layer unless this is a group, so this layer should be a group. So right click on it and press group with selection. Now you can select that main group, and you can press right click on it and press convert to, so right click on it and press convert to bone. So this is a bone layer now. Now you are in frame 0 and you're able to add in any direction the bone you want, maybe from here, from bottom to top. All right, now flexi bone technique has been added. Also now there is a problem, that is because now have a look here. When this is selected, if I go here and do this, this is the flexi bone. Why it is getting moving like this? That is because there is no points here. So there is no point here, there is no point here. So to do this, you have to select the artwork while you're on frame 0, and on the artwork you will see the third one called as the add point tool. So now you are able to add one point here, supporting point, okay, another supporting point. Now I have two supporting points added. Therefore now if I try to rig this, if I try to bend this, as you can see, it is doing a good job now. The more points I add, the smoother. When I reach down here, it will be much smooth, helping me to bend it properly. So flexi method is also good. Of course, when you do this, when you overdo this, like when you rotate this far away, you can fix this using something called as smart bones. About that we will learn. I will take a full complete video on what are smart bones and how to do it properly. But for now, this is the flexi binding method. This is called a flexi binding method. But this is not good. So what I told is to show you that you can also use smooth joint pair on a vector layer. That is exactly what I'm going to show you right now. So keep in mind there is only two supporting point here, one here, another one there. Now select the bones while you're on frame 0, and now also select this layer and go to bone and press create smooth join for bone layer. And now when you go to this space, I mean this bone layer selected while you're on frame 12, let's say you're selecting one of these bones, and when you rotate, as you can see, it's doing okay job, maybe a little bit better than before, but not the best one, not the best. But to improve on this, I have mentioned here, as you can see, you can use smooth joint pair, but make sure that you need a lot of points. Okay, you need lots of points. But for raster layers, you don't need points at all, because why? For images, we can't add anchor points, right? But for these vector shapes, I can select them and add many anchor points. One there, another one here. I can click, click, click to add supporting anchor points. But for images, we can't. That is why for vector layers, highly recommend add more points for better result. So select this layer while you are in frame 0, and while this is selected, now when you have selected all of this, just one click on this box and you will see something called a split. If you press split, it is going to add multiple points in between. But keep in mind, you can also take the add point tool and edit by yourself, or press the split. See, it added one here, another two here. So the more you add, the more it will bend very nicely. I think this is enough. You can even add more, but also keep in mind, the more anchor points you add, the more your computer is going to work hard to keep to store or to process all of these joints. But Moho is really good optimized software, but don't worry about it. Okay, now while you're in frame 12, and now when you try to use this same tool, now as you can see, it is super cool, right? But you will see something called something like this happening. Okay, don't worry, if something like this happens, we can fix using something called as smart bones. We will see them later. But as you can see now, this is million times better because I have so many points. These points are making it look so smooth. Alright, now let's talk about bind point tool technique method, which is my favorite binding method in the entire Moho. It is awesome. It is one of the best accurate ones for rigging. But keep in mind the example that I'm going to do, it won't make much sense at the moment, but because we need a proper drawing rigging character to show you the full power of bind tool. So don't worry, in the upcoming video I will show you definitely. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a new vector layer while we are on frame 0, and this one we don't need it, delete it. Same thing, you are going to create a same box like this. Maybe this time I'm going to create the hand too. Okay, let's say this is the hand. Okay, now look at this, I'm drawing these two on the same layer. Okay, I'm drawing these two on the same layer because now to use the bind point tools, to use this technique you don't need multiple layers. With just one layer itself you can do this properly. So for the hand, just one layer itself. For all the three, for the this thing, one single rectangle. Okay, this one, this rectangle is for the forearm and the arm. This rectangle is just for the hand, and both of these are located in a single vector layer. Now just like before, convert this to a group and make sure that this is a bone layer. So convert to bone, and now while you're in frame 0 you can add those bones. Okay, that is enough. Now let's do the point binding. So make sure that this layer is selected to do the point binding, because if only we are in the vector layer selected, then only we can see the points. That is why we have to select this when we can see the points. And also make sure, I'll start from here. I'll select these points, and also make sure that get the select bone tool and make sure you don't need to select like that. Straight away go for this thing, bind points tool. See, straight away go for this. Now you can click on the points that you want to, like this one or the other one or this one, but you can hold down Alt and left click on the bone to select the bone. And also as soon as you select the bind point tool, it assign a bone color. See, this is blue, green and lighter green, right? That means now what you can do is you can, let's say, assign these 2 points for this bone, and let's say these 2 points for the green bone, and all of these 4 points to the blue bone. You can do that. But right now if I do this, since there is no supporting points here, this is not going to work really well at all. But anyway, let's select these 2 points while this bone is selected, not that one, okay, not this one. Okay, while this bone is selected, select these 2 points and press up here bind points. As soon as you do that, look, it takes the same color as the bone. These 2 points take the same color as the bone. That is really cool. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the other side as well. Now keep in mind, while these two are selected, and also while this bone is selected, yeah, now press bind points. These two should not be selected. Keep that in mind. Okay, only these two and this bone. Now press bind points. Now that takes the same. This is like yellow, green. Now I want you to just one click on this box, so all those points related to that box is getting selected. Also hold on Alt and just left click on this, and also click on this shape and press bind points. Now all of these points becomes blue. Alright, now what you can do is now just go to frame 12 and then let's try this. See, it just works as expected. Now this will not work properly. See, also one more important thing, we don't need bone strength for bind point technique at all. So what we will do is we will quickly go to frame 0, select all of this, and bone strength, let's put it to almost 0. There is no bone strength at all. Now even if you use it now, it is not going to do much. See, it's the same because we don't have supporting point here. So let's go back and add that supporting point. So select this and add a supporting point. So in this case you can add points like this, maybe 1 point here, another point here. Also I will add one more here, one here, one here, one here, one here. These two for the yellow and the other two for the green. So as you can see, now I have full control over my artwork on my character. I can have full control to which point to assign to which bone. So this way we can do whatever we want. So this is very, very powerful. This is the powerfulest method. So I'll go back to frame 0 and get this tool again. While this bone is selected, make sure that these ones are selected and then press bind points. As you can see, for this it is wrongly binded, so let's press now bind points. So we have 1 2 3 4 greens and 1 2 3 4 yellows. That's it, done. Now if you check, the supporting points will help a lot. Okay, see, this helps a lot. Now, yeah, this is a common normal thing. Don't worry about this. Whatever happens right now is 100% normal, so don't worry about this. Now this can be so much easily can be fixed using something called as actions, or you can say smart bonds. Don't worry, we will fix them in something called as doing actions. So when we do that in actions, you can have full control over these points and put them wherever you want, but that we will learn later. Okay, all right, now we have seen flexi binding, smooth join pair, and bind point tool. It is based on the colors. Now for the bind layer, so as you can see, I just wasted my time using the bind point tool on the hand, because I don't really have to use the hand, because we know that directly we can connect the hand to the bone, right? To the hand bone. So I should have done it earlier itself. But so on a situation like this, better to use the bind point tool. So to use the bind point tool, make sure that this shape should be on its own layer. Okay, so what we will do is we will select these points. While these points are selected, Control X to cut it. Use this when you're in frame 0. Control X to cut it. Now create a new vector layer and paste that hand onto that layer, and make sure that you select that bone and you also select that hand, and now just press bind. Take this bind point tool, and as soon as you take the, I mean not bind point, it is called as the bind layer. This is bind point, this is bind layer. So take the bind layer, and now while this layer is selected right here, one click on this bone to bind it. It is binded. Now it will work like before, like usually the same way. Okay, but this is lot faster. This is lot faster. It is because you don't have to select all those joints and wait. This technique is lot faster. Now in the upcoming videos, we will do both types of character rigging, Photoshop version as well as the Illustrator version. In my case, I'm talking about vector and raster version. We'll do both, and we'll again on an advanced character rig, which is going to take a lot of time. I think more than like, it's going to take at least 1 hour long. That's why I didn't do that in this video, because this is going to be somewhat of a short video. So in that full video, let's learn all of this. Let's repeat in a much more advanced way. On the next video, we will talk about more different ways how you can draw, and many other drawing tools and different brushes and more types of brushes we'll talk about. Also styles, let's talk about these styles and many more on the next video.